Chapter 6. Two Loud Calls for Calm. The brutal events in the little house on Lawrence Avenue were still on Chicago's front pages. Angry citizen reaction was growing. Everyone was talking about the brutal dual slayings. But the conversations were growing darker. Memories of past attacks on the city's Jewish community came flooding back. Then at Sunday High Mass, the Cardinal Archbishop of Chicago, John Krensky, gave an impassioned call for unity in a sermon that ran nearly 45 minutes. At one point, he asked Chicago Rabbi Alex Green to join him in the sanctuary. The two then asked for a short moment of silence. Then Krensky gave his old friend Rabbi Green the chance to speak for a few minutes. Green had a quiet, halting, reassuring voice. He talked about his own family's trek from the old country to Chicago. He spoke of his encounters with the Schneiders and how he always felt welcomed in their suburban home. He talked of a lot of rambling things. Quoting him, "We are all brothers and sisters of those two, Ephraim and Marion. We are all truly one community here in Chicago. We all worship the God of Abraham, the God of Moses, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. We all strive to find peace and goodness in others. That is our common desire. That is our common goal. That must be our common command. We must never lose sight of that. We can stay focused with God's help." It was a very somber moment, but a very necessary one. You see, the lid needed to be kept on Chicago in the aftermath of yet another attack on its Jewish community. During past decades, it had seemed that anti-Jewish violence had become a way of life, particularly in one suburb, Skokie. The cardinals' and the rabbis' calls for calm would not be their first, nor their last. They could not see that there would be many years of sadness ahead in Chicago, just down the road. As the leading clergymen of both faiths, they knew they had a very deep responsibility to Chicago. They would keep up the good fight. For now, the fight was centered on the deaths of the Schneiders, just the latest victims of what seemed like senseless acts of hate in a Chicago that had always seemed so compassionate. But for Ephraim and Marion Schneider, the fight was over. Their story of personal survival from the horrors of a rotten Nazi concentration camp to the warmth and gentleness of a Chicago suburb and the glow of a family and friends had ended. Their attack had come without warning. The only provocation to the haters was that they exemplified everything the haters hated. They were killed for just being good Americans, for just being good Jews, for just being Ephraim and Marion Schneider, late of 1449 West Lawrence Avenue. It's odd, Judge Shake thought out loud, after reading yet another story about the dead couple. No matter how much the press does reports on such hate crimes, no matter how many speeches are made, no matter how many calls for positive action there are, nothing seems to change over the years. And even when the case is eventually solved, nothing will change. Just mark my word, nothing.